effect.
It's just another thought, you know, another possibility to examine. Rift are going to get to the bottom. Alfari's got a lot of vision in the river, and he's pushing deep.
Yeah, a lot of this control comes from just perks in the mid lane, always pushing in Power Weevil. You can always move first from the mid lane, you can get your early wards in, you can get to the Rift Herald, and it's hard for Power Weevil to kind of fight back. He's still a level down in the mid lane here, and Perks is obviously just consistently getting the CS. Son on Mithy.
Yeah, Mithy's got Flash and Exhaust if he can use it, but the answer is no. Maxlaw solos Dragon, Mithy's caught by an arrow, and Perks tries to get some poke back.
Yeah, and honestly, we just have to call out G2 for these plays, but we might have to wait, because Maxlaw is baiting.
He baited the ghost.
He's trying to read the movement of Perks right now for the next time he arrives in mid lane. He knows he's going to juke to the left, and then he's going to aim it there. And he's actually going to do it. That's something Mad Life used to say in Season 2, that he would like kind of sit and study around. That mid lane one, where Mithy ended up dying, does set him a bit behind compared to Ignar, but support levels, not that important.
No, especially not. You've got such a great kit with Braum, the ability in fights. So looking at the minimap now, G2 down in the bottom lane, pushing towards that outer. Misfits and G2 seem to have played kind of a tower trade game. The matches seem to be, the lane swaps seem to be matched and mirrored. So they're always pushing opposite lanes, opposite numbers. And if G2's saying, well, okay, let's go to mid and late, and Misfits try beat us. That's where we come from.
Sure. I mean, obviously, this is two teams kind of reading the map the same way. That's why they have these swaps. Now, this is the correct play for us, which means, obviously, cross-mapping is the correct play for you. And that's why they're doing exactly the same. Problem for Misfits is they lost mid tower. And one of the reasons some mid laners don't like Orianna right now as much as before is because of Rift Herald. Because it's so easy to get it and then use it to kill mid tower. And then Orianna is kind of stuck here in these long lanes, not able to roam first because she's a control mage. And it's hard then to really have an impact. And I say that as Power Weaver's 2-1-1 because, well, again, Gigi's kind of been walking to him.
Yes, the game has been played around him. He didn't go to the game, if that makes sense.
No, right here, Power Weaver, please.
But I'm glad you mentioned that. 2-1-1, 3 of the 4 kills. Power Weaver, statistics-wise, is actually very impressive. Going to get the flash out of Perks. Just from that shockwave threat and the support. And get to that momentarily as Hans Sama and Ignar. They've got some support here from Maxlaw. They're grouped up. Ash Arrow is available. You've got a flashless Perks that becomes a very juicy target.
But they're only fighting for vision here, Trevor. There's nothing else to really go for. Well, yeah, Perks could definitely get caught right now.
This is so scary. Perks manages to sidestep the Ash Arrow. And they get his Ghost, though. It's a zoning ultimate.
Gotta hit that one. You gotta hit it. Hansama down the bottom lane. No flash on the Syndra. Massive hitbox as well on that arrow.
Before you just condemn my setup.
Oh, that is actually interesting. Trick wanting that extra range on his first shot instead of the PD, which is normally the attack speed item you would go for as the Graves, just to get some of the damage reduction in there. Obviously, long-range spells on the side of Misfits. You have to Orianna's Shockwave, but arrow on Mithy.
All right, Mithy gets caught, throws down the wall. Unbreakable comes out. Glacial Fissure into the flash. There's the team fight that Expect needs to be impactful on. Maxlaw saves Perks' life, kicks him to his team. Alfari's able to escape by the skin of his own. Power of Evil flashes forward, unable to find the kill, and nobody goes down.
Oh, big ulti as well from Power of Evil in that fight. Perks getting caught. It's just a little bait. Nothing actually happened. G2 pushing for this tower. Power of Evil, he's very low.
He is indeed. Doesn't have mana to wave clear either. G2 using the advantage in the mid lane to chunk down that inner turret. And it pulled Misfits away from the Dragon.
Well, that means everyone is going to try and recall and then go back to the Dragon. That's why Maxlaw, he's sneaking in here. Still full HP after that fight. And he's actually going to secure this one while all of G2 are going back to base.
Didn't quite see how the kick was set up, but it booted Perks over the wall into his own team. G2 were able to save it. So despite the fight, Misfits get their second Infernal Drake. And that's a great late game insurance policy in a game that's very clearly going late.
Exactly, and there's still a lot of good options for them as well late game in Ashe, Orianna on the side of Misfits. And even Renekton, like, while he's an early game focused champion, he's not useless in the late game. Like, he still becomes a tank. He can build Gargoyle's Stone Plate, so obviously it's really hard to kill him in fights. And he does provide a bit of CC and decent enough damage against squishy members. So Alfari will not be useless late game, but obviously Rumble excels in team fighting.
Yeah, we saw how impactful that equalizer is just a moment ago. Hansama, Ash Arrow up and available. Perks, Flash still not up. And Mithy, a lot of skill shots. The Flay comes backwards, Unbreakable to block the autos. Mithy gets tugged back down the lane, and Maxlaw misses the Q. This time around, Mithy in the right place, the right time to save Perks.
We have two teams who like to try and play little bit slower normally. You want to try and rely a little bit more on, you know, the macro, the shot calling, and that's why we've had a game now where it's not been full-on fiesta, everyone just dying left and right.
Not yet.
Not yet. I'm saving that for game 2 or the late game of this one. It's actually been every team is trying to kind of catch up one guy every time and punish when the other team would make that mistake of walking in without a minion pushed or you know, proper vision. So interesting game to kind of sit and look back at to see how did all these small things happen. But in terms of overall kills, we still want more.
Yeah, we'll see whether or not G2 or Misfits can make it happen. It's a 600 gold game at 22 minutes. 2 item spikes are beginning to be completed. Morella, Nomicon, Ludens for perks, Hourglass, Leandries for expect, Black Cleaver, Spirit Visage. No real surprises. Rapid Fire Cannon, second item for Sven.
Obviously, Hurricane no longer really working on Caitlyn, so you will see Rapid Fire, and then most likely a PD coming in if you judge from a lot of the LCK. Caitlyn's in Europe, I've seen Static Shiv a lot coming in as well for the synergy between them. But there is also a little problem with them. We can talk about that if it actually gets built. But definitely want double Zeal item when you're playing a crit-based AD carry.
I'll figure out exactly which item that'll be in just a few moments. G2 once again.
I think it should be PD against Renekton.
Setting up all vision. Baron becomes now a question as we start to scale up. No traditional tank on the side of G2. Tankier champions on the side of Misfits. Just going to help them out ever so slightly more. I actually have a slightly interesting stat for you, DeFisher. At least I think it is. Do you know Alfari is the top laner with the longest solo kill drought? And what that means is he has not picked up a solo kill in over 11 games. And the reason I find that surprising and impressive, this is a guy who wins his lane, consistently pushes his lane, consistently controls it, but he only really focuses and prioritizes that CS. He's not looking for those kills, unlike Vizicachi, who really goes for the kills.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. You have a big difference there. Vizicachi is the man you find between 2 towers in the early game. Alfari is the man who, as you highlighted, aims to like more freeze the wave a little bit, deny the CS, never really risk dying, because we've actually seen him a few times. Kind of ignore the enemy jungler. Fnatic game week 1. What happened, Trevor? Ooh. He got ganked and he died.
Yep.
And then suddenly, he obviously realizes you have to really respect the jungler. And sometimes you can respect it too much. Other times you cannot respect him at all and you die. So it's always a tricky game. I think Alfari mainly was last split where we really saw him dominate laning phase. It's again what we kind of want to see more from this split.
And of course this game, the laning phase was cut short by multiple lane swaps. Made his life a little more difficult. And we're in this mid-game phase. Dragon's up in 2 minutes. Baron very clearly a focus for both teams. They keep challenging vision around the objective.
It's getting very, very warm in here. Woo!
That's just because the action is heating up, Deficio. Misfits are pushing out the mid lane. That 9-step plan to taking Baron, you so eloquently explained a while ago. One of the very first steps is push mid.
Anyone remembers
but
all
I
those
do.
steps.
I listen to you, Deficio.
Did you write them down? You also know then about this ward power wheels walking over right now? The little secret ward just outside where the control wards won't see it. I'm still surprised in 2017 that ward actually works. And it's just because the support, sometimes they just don't think about it and no one tells them.
Tension, death sentence onto Trick. Ash Arrow connects as well. Here comes Max Law. He finds Perks and Perks is down. Max Law takes him out. Alfari's on the back end looking for Trick. A double flay. That's going to kill. The death sentence finds Expect and it's a triple for almost the best jungler in Europe.
No one cares about that ward anymore because Misfits, they find the correct fight. Alfari with the TP as well, something we have looked at in the past and said he needs to be quicker and better at them. And this time around, it was a perfect teleport engage. Teleport flank from Alfari, from the engage, obviously started by Ignar first, and then Maxwell with a beautiful kick.
4 or 5 hours ago, Maxwell said he was feeling it. And this is what he's feeling.
This is it. Let's see it again. So, hook onto the Graves. Maxwell finds Perks, jumps and kicks him back. It's a beautiful setup by Maxwell. And then instant TP coming in from Alfari to join the fight.
Ignar just hits everything.
Oh, even that last hook with the flash. Full credit also to Ignar. Pavil and Hansama had the easiest team fight of their life. They're like, okay, I guess you're setting up everything for us.
The damage in that last fight, Maxwell's so good. 26-minute Baron. Misfits, they already had two Infernals. Now they got Baron buffed minions, and they take down the last outer turret from G2. And Misfits get to play this mid to late game now very comfortably with the lead.
And And we also get to look at a G2 Esports still struggling. Week 3 now, and once you lose to Fnatic, while you can say you have your excuses, the players obviously they're a bit mad because you just lost as G2 Esports in Europe. Fnatic fully deserved to win that series as well. Game 3 was a bit of a stump.
Yep.
So you want to come into this week and be like, okay, time to bounce back, take down Misfits, a team that's shown some good things and some bad things so far in the summer split. And right now, G2 Esports, they've been caught out multiple times. They've been not able to beat Misfits in terms of their shot calling. They've actually just been even. They've been matching each other. And now Misfits, with that engage, massive advantage.
And that's very exciting if you're a Misfits fan. Reading the game, reading the map, and trading evenly with G2. They've not made any big mistakes. In actual fact, they've punished every mistake G2 has been has made.
Yeah. And Max Law's Lee Sin has been pretty clean as well in the jungle. Something Cow obviously offered to this team in the spring split was that Lee Sin play where he could make some of these plays. Arrow forces the flash.
All right, nicely dodged there by Perkz. Gets out of range, but just means rinse and repeat. Another target for another time. It was, in fact, the static shiv that was completed by Sven, so we'll talk about that as the siege slows down. Power of Evil's up in the top lane, Alphari's in the bottom lane. Teleport is available for Expect, so if Misfits stick around too long, G2 maybe can find an opportunity, but it's going to be difficult. Death Sentence pulls just short of Perkz, and Misfits playing all 3 lanes.
We have to remember G2's comp not really running a lot of engage. Like, they could have picked Gragas jungle as an example. They wanted to play the Graves. Okay, fine. That means you rely on other members to engage, but early Caitlyn pick doesn't offer any engage. Braum, while you can, of course, flash forward, it is very hard to do because the other team will react against it, and it's a very unreliable way of engaging fights. So it is really hard now that you are behind.
Whoa, look at that!
Getting some revenge after losing that laning phase.
So much damage from Power of Evil onto Perkz. Remember, Perkz, no flash. Right, mid tower is already down during the course of Baron. Top is now under siege by 4 members of Misfits, and Alphari is keeping Expect busy. 2 towers in 2 minutes. Nicely done. Expect trying to turn this one around onto Alphari. They've traded ultimates, the overheat and the electro harpoon. That's a golden Expect with support from Sven and Mithy. Alphari's looking for the kill. The slice and dice, not enough. Exhaust saves Expect's life.
So G2 gets a little bit at the very end of that Baron buff. 1 kill onto Alphari. No summoners used by him. And Misfits, as you can see there, left corner, top left corner, 21 wins and 2 losses. 2017 spring, whenever they led at 30 minutes.
That's a good statistic to have. On Summer, by the way, Ash Arrow is available for him. Maxwell's looking for a target. The ball goes out, Death Sentence finds Trick, Shockwave as well, Unbreakable, Mithy's delivered to Misfits, and Hun Summer takes him down.
And we just have to praise Ignar in this game here. He's been setting up so many kills for Misfits. He's been the man starting the fights now as well. We talked about G2 not running a lot of engage. Well, the same side of Misfits. That's why we could say, okay, Alphari, he can't really start, probably even know, but the bottom lane can. Ash Arrow and then Ignar hooking people left and right.
Misfits just showing up to Fishio.
Ignar showing up big time. Landing that one onto Trick. Then that's just starts the fight because you have Shockwave, you have Maxwell jumping in, and G2 Esports not being proactive right now, getting just punished left and right, and they don't have the tools to really stop some of these engages here from Misfits.
And that means Misfits accelerate their lead. 5,000 gold, 9 kills to 2. They've got 3 dragons under their belt. Baron will be up in 2 minutes. And likely, Misfits will look to use the Baron or the Elder to break open G2's base. That's the next big hurdle. And that's something they've got to look to break through. Alphari continues to scale up. Big CS advantage over Expect. And he's got that stone plate, so now he's even tankier in these team fights.
Exactly. That's what we talked about before as Renekton. You're just trying to become a tank. You just sit in the front line and you just buy time.
It'll be interesting to see his decision-making on reducing his damage but not dying, and how that plays out. Talk to me a little bit about this rapid-fire cannon Shiv synergy that maybe is a little surprising. We were kind of expecting the Phantom Dancer.
So it's not surprising. I'm just super boring. So if I see like things diving on me as an AD carry, I'm like, oh, PD, nice item, you know. I want to make sure I stay alive. But I talked about this once before, but simply the 2 items together, you got to remember now, rapid fire cannon will speed up how much energy you get, you know, when you move around and when you auto attack. So by building these 2 guys together, you actually need 7 auto attacks instead of 9 auto attacks to fully stack up to 100 and then get that proc from static shift. The problem is the rapid fire cannon damage that comes from its proc on its own is actually not applied. It is only the range you get from it,
Right.
and then it actually procs the static shift damage instead. So you don't get the full amount of damage from the rapid fire cannon, but you get the extra range and the extra energy.
So it's a bit of a trade-off, I suppose. Let's see if it
It's
ends
still
up helping
very
Sven.
good. Yeah, it's of course very good, but just don't expect both items to proc at the same time for all that extra burst. So much burst.
Yeah, not this time around. Hans Sommer, by the way, was saved by that Lantern of Ignar. Took a big chunk of damage. Didn't quite see what the cause was, but he was a little bit hit. This time around, Ace in the hole tags up Maxlaw. And Misfits setting up their vision. It's very clear that Baron is the objective, and Misfits at this stage, they cannot afford to get shook up. Last week, they had a lot of problems securing those Barons. Ninjas in Pajamas stole a few of them, and G2 definitely can do that with this comp.
No one remembers the third Baron of that game, because no one steals Baron from Misfits three times in a game.
In a row.
That was actually a really nice setup in the third one, where Maxlaw, you know, kicked Shook away, secured the Baron. That's the kind of thing we want to see here, because in Spring Split, we had that little hype storyline about Misfits Barons, so clean.
It didn't last very long,
No, because then as soon as you
unfortunately.
start saying it, they actually made mistakes around it, but let's see what happens here.
All right, we'll keep our eyes on this fight. Alfari's coming in from behind G2. The flanking Crocodile throws down the Dominus, gets a stun onto Perks. Here comes Maxlaw. I'm looking for the kick, looking for the target. Mithy puts down the Glacial Fissure, and it's Maxlaw that's down. He's shut down. It's a 2-0 though for Power of Evil. He continues to chase. Expect those Golden with Hourglass, and will get shut down. Triple kill for Power of Evil. Sven gets taken out by Ignar's death sentence, and Alfari sets up the Quadra for PoE.
Man, Alfari in that team fight was just a CC machine in the front line, allowing his carries to deal the damage, and the rest of Misfits, they're going straight for the Nexus.
Misfits, 14 kills to 3 are on the Nexus turrets.
Save the minion! Oh, the minion died.
The minion wave is slowly dying, but making another one. Coming up through the base on the inhibitor. Misfits slice and dice to clear out the G2 minions. It is a matter of time. It is a matter of consequence. The objectives are down, and Misfits take game 1 against G2.
For him as a guy who actually offers a very strong laning phase. He can push in Cassiopeia very easily, he can trade with her very effectively. You're just not picking this champion to be the solo carry on your team. And that is where you sometimes see these mid laners say, I don't know if I like it then.
But this is also where we get to evaluate Perks, a little bit of personal development, a little bit of
course,
growth, you know? He has been the carry, he has been enabled by so much of G2 for so long. Now he has to enable everybody else as well. Not something we get to see a lot, but it is something that we do expect him to be able to do. Deficio, I want to turn your attention to Ignar, the man in the bottom lane. He's got this Blitzcrank. And earlier today we asked about that Twitter question, right? Ranking players. I've actually got a tweet for you from @Scandalous. I agree with Quickshot's opinion on Power of Evil, but I also think that Ignar has shown the ability to be a top support in Europe.
And we have to remember Ignar last split was voted as the #1 support in Europe. We had the awards, he was obviously on the All-Pro team, because he actually had a really good split, and I think a lot of people will agree that Ignar has the potential to consistently be one of the top ones. This one, he's obviously going for Zai. He doesn't really want to hook a Braum, but it means Mithy now can trade, because when you play Blitzcrank, especially level 1, once your ability is used, it's 15 seconds cooldown, you're not doing anything, you're just standing there looking like an idiot.
Yep, that window of opportunity is closed, and that allows Sven and Mithy to shove this wave out. Early level 2 for Sven and Mithy, instant reply for Hans and Ignar.
Another thing for Sven here is once he hits level 6, then Zaya is fantastic against things like Ashe.
Doesn't go further.
So I have to remember Mithy sitting with a lot of potions right now. Steam now mid lane, Maxlaw.
Maxlaw Sonic Wave is flashed away from. And golf claps from the crowd. The Misfits fans erupt. Maxlaw, summoner spell secured already.
And the long range of Ashe in the laning phase here, plus the volley for trading, makes her a fine pick against Zaya in the early levels. It is just after level 6. You get a little bit annoyed when you try and ulti onto Sven, but trading here is good for Sama. You could dodge on the Q as well, and therefore Ignar is able to get the brush control. When you play support, if you get to control the brushes, then you feel like you're so powerful in lane. You feel like you're dictating when the fight's going to happen. And that's what you want to do on Blitzcrank.
Well, let's keep our eyes on this top lane. Trick is coming in to support Expect. Leaps forward, flash for flash. Flame Spitters going down. First blood picked up by Expect. Maxwell fancies his shot and misses. Interesting, by the way, Trick. He got red buff and 2 camps down bottom, recalled, and then picked up his blue. Slightly delayed clear, if I can say that. underrated how effective it can be. There are a limited number of champions that it's useful against.
Exactly. I agree against like Cassiopeia, Rumble. It definitely makes sense. I just see sometimes people just build it out like for no reason. It's like, oh, but this Orianna, she might get 2 Qs on me within these 4 seconds. I'm like, nope, that's completely useless.
Not worth.
Go Spirit Visage, go Abyssal Scepter. But yes, again, things like Cassiopeia, we could definitely see it.
It's one of the few champions I would like to see it on. Alfari and Expect trading. Equalizers on cooldown for Expect. Alfari's still got that dominance available. Keep in mind that he's down 23 CS. The double kills are helping out, but on a lane bully to be losing lane fairly heavily thanks to the impact of Trick, that's a good sign for G2.
So Maxwell started off this Rift Hill there, even though it is in that river very early on, despite the time it actually takes for Lee Sin to solo down the Rift Hill.
G2 end up winning the fight. We'll watch this back end. Sven jumps in with that Featherstorm. Closes out. He gets the first kill of the fight. He was also the last hit onto Herald. We caught the picture-in-picture there. Rift Herald was summoned in the mid lane.
Yeah,
it got one boop onto the outer turret and then got Sven Perks. They're running down Misfits. Hansama forced to flash for his life. Power of Evil gets another in reply. 2 for 2 thus far, and G2 are looking for an objective.
And we just talked about how this Blitzcrank was still sitting around control wards, not really being spotted exactly the way he was on the map by G2 Esports, but they obviously knew something was going to happen because they started calling, you know, okay, we're going to go in here and face check, fight will break out, and we saw instant ulti from Perks as well.
Hops over the wall with Ignar. He goes down, so does Hansama. Maxlaw, Winds of War, sidesteps, he walks away from. And that's why he thinks he's the best jungler in Europe. The mechanics.
This actually means Maxlaw can get full HP, get back on the map, and maybe try and go for some sort of steal here. If Misfits can actually delay the Baron going down. He's on the way with home guards. The rest of Misfits around the Baron itself.
Oh, Alfari's going in with dominance. The Baron's going far too low, far too quickly. It's already secured. Alfari's the target, and it's Perks that gets the kill.
They tried. They tried, but G2 Esports looking very good in this game here. Perks specifically on the Galio. Another flash taunt in that fight. Let's see it again. So, yeah, we just talked about how every single member kind of has a way to get out of this, or maybe wants to get hooked. And if you are playing Braum, getting hooked is not a bad thing. It just lines up a very easy ulti for Mithy onto Hansama. He gets bursted down. And obviously while the fight is happening between Trick and Ignar, look at Perks down the bottom lane. Taunt up, flash in onto the 2 guys. That's kill secured for G2 Esports. And both Perks and Trick have been able to get a lot of kills.
I'm so glad we got that little discussion out about which champions can get hooked and the combination. I know it's fairly obvious, but it is beautiful to watch happen. And now all of a sudden, Maxlaw's caught up between a Galio and a Kha'Zix. Winds of War won't take him down yet. Let's see how quickly Maxlaw can run around the circle.
Not very quickly.
Very quickly, unfortunately. And that's just yet another kill for Misfits. 0-4-3 for Maxlaw. Adaptive Helm picked up there for Perks.
It is in fact Abyssal Mask.
Thank you.
Because we decided to change it. It's no longer Scepter. So we obviously had to change the icon as well, and it is now a weird looking mask.
It is indeed.
I don't know why.
Kind of looks like Baron and Herald, actually.
Yeah, it's actually true. We kind of like that theme right now.
What is the difference between like a scepter and a wand, for example? Like is the stick that Gandalf carries a scepter? See what I mean? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, you can definitely be defensive with it.
You can indeed. G2 don't want to be defensive. They're sieging 3 lanes. Teleports available top and middle. And they've got a huge lead against Misfits. It's nearly 10,000 gold at 23 minutes. It feels like just a matter of time before this multi-lane pressure knocks over these turrets.
Yeah, that's the point we always start talking about Game 3 as the teams, the coaches, figuring out the draft for Game 3 already, kind of realizing that a comeback here would be very unlikely to happen when you're this far down. And so many members of G2 Esports are not really afraid of Ignar at this point.
They are not. Mithy doesn't even need to get hooked, he just jumps right in. Fisher goes down, G2 flanking from the side. Expect is looking to roast Hansama, and Power of Evil goes golden with the hourglass. Perks flashes forward, dashes forward rather. They managed to take down Power of Evil, they managed to take down the inhibitor. And as good as Misfits late game was, G2 are stomping them in game 2. Perks is going to throw down the heroic entrance. Hansama gets burned where he stands. Featherstorm into the blade caller. Sven gets 1. The rest of Misfits dash onto the fountain to heal up. It's not even 24 minutes into the game, and G2 Esports strike back sending a message to Misfits.
G2